high. A thimble full of red is redder than a bucketful. Matisse said that in 1905. Imagine that, 1905, and he's wanking about color. Color, color, color. That's all we wank about, color.
Hey, this color, can I have some color? How do I mix this color? What color is that? Oh my god, I love my colors.
Color, color, color. Always about color. Color gets all the credit, but value does all the work. How come we always talk about color and not value? Let's talk about value today, which will lead us to color. Let's go to the board. Here we are, color. Three things: hue, value, chroma. You only need three things. Hue. What does hue mean? Not Hugh Laurie. I'm on Dr. House. Don't need Hugh Laurie. Hue. Hue means color. What color do I have? 6 colors. You only have 6 colors. Technically, we only have 3 colors, red, yellow, blue. If we could mix red, yellow, blue together and make all the colors in the world, it'd be wonderful, but paint doesn't work that way. More on that in a second. Let's get back to hue. Hue, 6 colors, red, yellow, blue, orange, green, purple. That's all there is. Value. Value is important. Here's your little value chart. You all have one in your paint box. I know. It's under the alizarin crimson, stuck to the lid of the ultramarine blue that you never put on. Yes. Value. 1 through 10. 10 values. That's all you need. We've scaled it down to 10 values. If you can deal with 10 values, if you can deal with 10 values, if you can deal with 10 values, you're going to be wonderful. 10 values. Here we go. Chroma. This is the kicker. Chroma. Bright and dull. Value. Let's go back. Light and dark. Chroma. Bright and dull. Just because something is bright does not mean that it's light. If something is bright, it can be dark. Okay? So let's figure out how we're going to do that. Here's a color chart right here that tells you everything that you need to know ever about color in the history of man, and it's all available to you from Swinton's Art Supplies, the greatest art store that ever lived. Or maybe second. Mine and yours was pretty good in Denver too. I like that guy. He was kind of cool. He saved my butt one time. More on that later. Let's go through this. Color. 6 colors. If we had just 3 colors that would work, red, yellow, blue, we could make everything. But it doesn't work that way. Why? Every color has a bias. Every color has a tendency to go one way or the other. Let's look at yellow. Cad yellow sits right here on the color wheel. And what happens? Cad yellow has a tendency, whoops, sorry, I drew that in the wrong spot. Cad yellow sits right there and has a tendency towards green. Cad yellow deep sits right here and has a tendency towards orange. So every color that you have has a tendency to go one way or the other. This is why we can't just have 3 colors. We need, the minimum we can have is 6. So we have red, yellow, blue, orange, green, purple. But if we really want to talk about it, we have their half-brothers all in between. The crazy uncle, the crazy aunt, the drunken cousin. Here we go. 12 colors. All derived from red, yellow, blue. But here we have red, yellow, blue, orange, green, purple. And their half steps. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. So here's just every color that we now have. So we got 12 colors. That's all you ever have to deal with. 12 colors. Okay, we've got that all sorted out. Here we go. So that's hue. 12 colors. 12 colors along the top of the color chart. You can make any color in the world you want. I got 12 colors. How many more do you want? Listen, if you had 12 colors, 10 values, and 14 chroma scales, you could make 147,932,000 colors. I don't know anyone that could make that many colors and keep them all straight in your head. I can't keep 3 things on a grocery list together. All right. So, hue, 6 colors. Pick your color along the top of the chart. Got it? Good. Let's go to value. 10 values. Number 1 is black. Number 10 is white. So 1 and 10 we don't use. You never use pure white, almost never use pure black, so you can dump those out. You're down to 8 values. You got 8 values to deal with, 2 through 9. That's 8 values. That's all you got to deal with. Here they are. Here's 8 values. Here is every color in one of those values. Value means light and dark. Here's the key. Your eye has cones and rods. Cones. Now, don't get all particular. I'm not a doctor and I'm an ophthalmology dude guy, eye guy. I can't even find my goddamn glasses on a good day. Your eyes have cones and rods. Cones see in color, rods see in black and white. You have 3 times as many black and white things as you do color things, which means We see in black and white before we see in color. Black and white before we see in color, which is why black and white TV was invented first and why it was always cool to watch TV in black and white. And it's fine, you can look at black and white photos, everything's distinguishable. Okay, values. Values, way more, as I said earlier. Color gets all the credit, value does all the work. It's way more important to paint something in black and white before it's ever in color. Tells you that every one of these colors, here is yellow in a light, here is yellow in a dark. Light and dark, not bright and dull. Let's do bright and dull now. Bright and dull. Chroma. Chroma means bright and dull. You can have a bright version of a color, you can have a dull version of a color. You can have a bright version of a dark color, and you can have a dull version of a dark color. You can have a bright version of a light color. You can also have a dull version of a light color. Do not get those confused. I know it's super confusing, but I'm going to try and sort this out for you. Chroma scale. Number 14 on the chroma scale is bright. Number 1 on the chroma scale is dull. Here's a funny thing that everybody does on their palette. What do you have on your palette? I have burnt sienna. I have yellow ochre. I have Payne's gray. I have Prussian blue. I have burnt umber. I have burnt umber half burnt. I have burnt umber 3/4 burnt. Whatever. All of those colors sit down here on the dull scale. You have cad red light. You have cad orange. You have cad yellow. You have quinacridone rose all sit up there. But when I see you guys put your palettes out, you got 67,000 colors of these and none of these. Almost none of these. Why is that a problem? Here's why that's a problem. Watch this. Every time you mix two colors together, the resulting color is a dulled version of the first two colors. Meaning, as you come in on the color wheel, everything gets grayer. If you mix opposite colors together, you make gray. The opposite of orange is blue, so if you mix them together, you'll get gray. Every time you move two colors together, they move in on the color wheel. Why? I want to make orange. I'm going to take cad yellow, which sits right here, and I'm going to take cad red, which sits right here, and when I mix them together, because light doesn't bend, color goes straight across the color wheel, that's the resulting orange that I can make. So what happens is, I mix two colors together, the resulting color is a dulled version of the first two colors. Folks, color only ever gets duller the more you mix it. The more you put in, the more it's going to get dull. Duller and duller. The only way to brighten a color is to add more color fresh out of the tube. So, if I mix yellow and red together, this is the orange I get. If I buy orange, this is the orange I get. Stays bright. Here's the color chart, the chroma scale again. 14 up here, 1 down here. You can only ever go down the color chart. You cannot go up. There is no way to mix two colors and make them brighter. You must start with brighter color, which is why on my palette, cad yellow light, cad yellow deep, cad orange, cad red light, cad red deep, I have the brightest of the brightest colors that I can get, and I mix them down from there.
I have the brightest of the brightest colors that I can get, and I mix them down from there.
Let's move on to the color chart. Hue along the top, value along here. See the three little colors that are right here? Let's zoom in. Can we zoom in? Have the little dude zoom in. This is bright, this is medium, this is dull. Does that make sense? This is bright, this is medium, this is dull. How do you get a dull version of a color? You mix the opposite color. Any color 6 steps away on this color chart is the opposite color, which is what you're going to mix to make a duller version. So if I want this yellow ochre here, so I've decided I'm painting fall trees. Here's my bright fall tree that's in the front. Here's my fall tree that's behind that tree. And here is the fall tree that is way off in the distance. I don't want to change my value. I don't want to change my color. I want to change my chroma. How do I do it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the color I mix into my yellow to make it go dull. So I can now drop this color from here to here without changing the color and without changing the value, and it will recede. Bright colors come forward, dull colors recede. Okay? So there's your two things. You cannot make a color brighter by mixing more color with it unless you mix it right out of the tube, but add the opposite color will gray the color. I hope that didn't get too confusing at the end. I think I even got confused at the end, but you can watch it again. You can always email me, you can talk to me later, but here. Everything. Now, last tip for you. Because most people paint too dark in the beginning and paint blacks too black, and photos show things too black, here's a tip. Black electrical tape. Fantastic thing. Put that on your easel, put that up near your painting, put that on your easel for outside. That is black, that is down here. Don't use that, ever. Too dark. Never, never, never. Let's move up into here. Shadows are usually a 5, lights are usually a 7. Lights on a sky, number 8. This is, you gotta learn where your values are, people. Black tape keeps you from going too black. Anyways, I think that's it for today. There'll be potato water later, test later. Don't forget to sharpen your pencils. I love you all. Goodbye.